We need to think of a new advert for freebets.com.
Get your best betting offers from freebets.com.
Yeah, that'll do.
The following deals are now live.
Matt Lenihan Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store and Forged Irish Stout. We're here, a year review with former two-time world champion Josh Warrington. Josh, it's coming up to Christmas, but you're here, you're in the gym, getting a bit of a sweat on earlier. How are you feeling, my mate?
Feeling good. It's nice to be ticking over, especially when you come up to Christmas. You let the diet slip a little bit. There's a load of temptations. Every other advert on TV or billboard has got a picture of mince pies on and other festive food. So it's nice to be able to train to keep the weight down, so you can allow yourself to divulge in all that lovely eating.
Aye, don't blame me, mate. Look, before we go into specifics about this year, we won't dwell on a lot of it too much, but just describe 2023, not in one word, in a couple, however many you want, but just describe it.
Put it down to our closest relevance is a song, Pixies, Where Is My Mind? It's just one of them years where Ed's gone, like in terms of boxing. It's been a very frustrating year. Last year I had ups and downs, getting a win, becoming a two-time world champion, and then obviously losing my belt with a shit end of the year. But it were a clean slate, January, and then it's just been a roller coaster up and down completely. And I've only boxed once, but it's what has gone outside of the ring and like with my gym mates that's made it such a roller coaster of a year.
So I've added, I was speaking to Reese a little bit yesterday, and it's sort of, you've all got each other to sort of bounce off, because you've all had your moments. You've had obviously yourself and Leigh Wood, we'll come on to that, with how it ended and all that kind of stuff. You've Maxie in Oklahoma, which still to this day I think was as clear as day what happened. And Reese, it was a close fight in his eyes. He did enough to get the victory, so he feels hard done by. And speaking to your dad, it was just like, just goes, just think, why bother? But then he says he comes in here and obviously he loves it, kind of thing. So, just what's it been like, not just obviously for you, but you've seen obviously your close mates as well go through like similar situations and adversity.
Yeah, it's frustrating. It really is frustrating. We've got a close bond. Reese has trained here, or has trained alongside us since his whole pro career, and Max, even though he's only training in this gym, for the last 4 to 5 years, I've been training alongside Max in different scenarios, in different gyms and sparring and stuff like that, for over 10 years. So I'm very close to both of them, and it's just like people who work in offices, they grow a close bond because you see your work colleagues more than you see your family sometimes. And, spending so much time with each other, especially in this game where it's gladiatorial, we push our bodies to the max and we bash each other up in sparring, but we bounce and we learn off each other. So, you get a close bond, and like Max and Reese, like, they're like brothers to me. They're like brothers, and, at the start of the year, Reese sets the tone, gets a good win. So I'm thinking good, positive energy. I say a few things happening with myself outside of the ring in terms of, spitting situations and fights falling through and coming and going. Then Maxie's in Oklahoma, absolutely spangles George Kambosos for 12 rounds and don't get the decision. That like knocks 7 bells at you. Then I have my fight, and what happens there. And then, at least Reese can at least, put some happiness, some good energy into the gym and, go over there. And it's a close fight, but we think he does enough to win. And then goes against him again. And it's like going back into the change rooms after that. why do you fucking bother? You know, it just because when I'm boxing, I'm sure they take it personal. And when they're boxing, I take it personal because, like I say, I can't do anything about their situation. I can only watch and scream and shout from the outside. But mate, it knocks 7 bells at you. It really is. It's tiring.
One thing I will say is, you obviously, it's very clear to see that you're all there kind of for each other. When you mentioned there, when you go through what you go through, you could tell Max and Reece, they were just like, pfft. And then when Max went through what he went through, I mean, it was just like everyone sat there, and you all do sort of take that burden on. But look, coming into the new year, what's to come for you? We're hearing a lot about this rematch, a lot about the weight of this rematch, 130. Yes. You're in your 30s now. You've still got, I think you proved in the last fight, you obviously still belong at that level, still more than enough left to compete at that level. Mm-hmm. Leigh has been crying out to move up, I think, for a while now, and it's quite clear to see as well. So 130, Leigh Wood, City Ground, is that where we're at, you think?
This is what I'm being told. You know, that's a fight that's been put to me by the Matchroom team. Yeah, I'm yet to see contracts and things like that. But I'm told I'm the front runner, the next in line, and for the fight in business sense, it makes the most sense. He's got a stadium to fill, and it needs a fight that people are going to get excited about, and that's a fight where it's going to interest my fans, it's going to interest his fans, it's going to interest the general boxing fans, it's going to appeal to everyone, So I've boxed in 2 stadium fights before. I know that you need something to go off to appeal to the folk. People don't just want to see him fight anybody. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, and hopefully we get that sorted soon. And if not, I'd like to go to America.
Last time it was about becoming 3-time. You were very close, I think, in that fight. You were winning, dominating the rounds. He picked up and he did what, I suppose he does what Leigh Wood does, he rallies, gets a second wind, gets his punches, and look, no matter what we think of the ending, he did what he needed to do himself. But what's it about for you this time? There's no belt on the line, but in terms of allowing your bodies to both fill out at this stage of your careers, is it just pride? Is it just about, what is it for you in this rematch? Revenge? What is it?
Just because of the controversial ending. I mean, I keep on adding to this list. I've always wanted to put Lara to bed because he was the first man to beat me. Then I got beat by Lopez, and I'd love to have the rematch with him, but then he's declared they'd never step foot in the same ring game.
You upset Lara and Lopez, didn't you?
Yeah, I have done. Yeah, so but I've obviously Leigh's a British fighter, and it's been one of them where it would have been nice to be a 3-time world champion, having beat him. But I think for me, it's an exciting fight. And obviously, it's the last month to have got a win over myself. So, yeah, just a lot of smoke was blown, about Leigh prior, and I'm like, yeah, he's all right, but I'm not sure he's all that take care of him. And since the fight, it's not been left. Obviously, I've had a lot of things where I've spoke about and it's been quite controversial, but he's gone about it in an arrogant way since. He's been saying that I'm disrespectful, but the way that he's conducted himself, it's almost toe curling, and people might say that I've been bitter or whatever, but the way that he's acted, it's been a bit of an knob, to be honest with you.
So, sort of adding to this, I spoke to Leigh in Belfast, obviously. He was there for Jordan Gill, Michael Conlon, and asking him, look, what do you want to do? I said, you keep saying, look, it doesn't matter who, but you do need someone to fill the stadium. I know he probably maybe doesn't care as long as he gets to walk out at that ground. He probably doesn't, but then he said, you know what, if I had my way, genuinely, forgetting what's going on, money's right, stadium as it is, I'd fight Navarrete. And then he said something along the lines of, so I don't want to quote him and say this is exactly what he said, but I'll find it and show it. He says, but if I have to knock Josh out for a few quid again, then so be it. Like
it was that fucking easy. You know, that's the thing. And I'll be honest with you, Matt, it's fucking not good, is it? We've got like Jordan Gill and fucking Leigh Wood, two gobshites fucking having all the success. Can't be having it. I mean, that's why it gets me a little bit frustrated. So, you know, it's just Leigh and myself had a very amicable build-up. But like I say,
a lot of respect.
Yeah, a lot of respect, and people like yourself and other media outlets probably wanted a little bit more feistiness, but you know,
I didn't think it needed it,
No, it
in
didn't.
terms of the first one, and I think it proved it with the fight.
I could see, and even since, I can feel like a lot of Matchroom media have like, why didn't you have this in the build-up? Like I wasn't going to do it if he wasn't going to do it, but since, you know, and there's a reason why he fucking probably don't want to fight me, because, you know, it won't go in his way. It's like the day after I'm hearing fucking is on national radio and he's talking about, it's all part of the game plan. Like, why am I going to show you respect when you're fucking, there's none back there? You know, a champion's way, you know, dealing with that would be, won't go my way, but champion finds a way to win, and that's what I did. You know, I think he'd have a lot more respect, certainly from myself, from that, but he didn't. He's just like, Josh is always sloppy. And all I've done since is answer questions like to you guys and to other media outlets about, you know, do you think it was controversial? Yeah, I do. But yeah, I think it's a bit, it's a bit annoying that if, you know.
I think when you came out, sorry to cut you off, because you were obviously, your point of the videos, like after the fights and whatever, they weren't, unless I'm mistaken, if I am, tell me in comments, I'll read them. But your point was to say, look, this is what I think went wrong. It was not to sort of slander Leigh and say Leigh did this wrong. It was more a case of, look, the point shouldn't have been taken off, and in terms of the stoppage, you didn't agree with it because of such and such reasons. It was never like, Leigh did this, Leigh did that. But then I think he's probably seen that and gone, geez, like, I'm just getting credit as a lucky punch. I won last minute against Mick. Lara didn't show up, kind of thing. You know, he's probably thinking, is somebody going to give me my credit? And then there's another controversial ending. So he's maybe looking, going, what more do I have to do? But you weren't coming from that angle, were you?
I wasn't. And he can think whatever, but really and truthfully, he's won. So he doesn't have to be getting upset about the fucking comments because he's won. But he has been getting upset with the comments. And there's a reason why he's calling out other names. I look at it and think I'm probably his biggest win on his resume. Now he feels that if he fights Navarrete, then Navarrete's a champion. If he loses, then it's not too much of a disgrace because he's another champion. But if he loses against me, I'm a British fighter and stuff like that. So, and then Leeds like going down to Nottingham as well. It's his big fucking dream, isn't it? So. Yeah.
It's going to be a spicier build-up, I think, this one, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's if he takes it. You know.
Surely will take it unless there's a Cordina for a world title or he's getting a world title.
But is that selling? And why would you go down that avenue? You know, if I'm that easy a fucking fight, if I'm that easy a fight, and you want to sell I'm sure there'll be clauses in the contract for that to. He'll get paid so much money. There's smart people there. Yeah. If I'm that easy a fight, then fucking hell, you'd be taking. Yeah, of course I'll fucking chin Josh again. But obviously, he's not jumping at that because he knows it won't fucking easy. So
I think in terms of the fights available now, in terms of a narrative from a previous fight, in terms of a fan base, and I'm sure Matchroom look at the economics and business-wise, obviously, is important to them. They know that you bring fans at the end of the day on top of a resume, a history with Leigh Wood. So I think it's an easy sell. And the first fight, taking away of how it ended, what happened in it, it was exciting. Like everyone was, on edge kind of thing. There was a bit of everything in it. I know obviously you feel like, as many do, that you were getting the better of him throughout the fight. But there was, and the scorecards. But there was intrigue, and I think. It would be a shame to let that pass by now. Moving on from sort of this fight, because like in terms of where you're at in your career now, we mentioned age, in your 30s, whatever. Do you look and do you ever see an end game now? I know you've not done America yet, and I know that's probably annoyed you a bit. But in terms of what you've achieved, do you look and go, look, I might be one more away here, maybe one, maybe two. Do you look at that at all?
Yeah, there's times when you have to be realistic with yourself, and you do have to have these sit down and talks with people around you and your team and your family members and say, right, another year comes by, do have a end goal in mind. And
You had that chat?
there's been times in my career when I've said, I'll retire when I retire, and then there's been times when, right, that's it, 30, I'm retiring when I'm 30. I mean, it wouldn't, like I say, I've said this many times, fucking bored people to sleep. But there's been times in my career where I thought, I'm number one in world, I've had fucking 3 world title defences, I'm 28, like, if I go to America, if I get to Unify, then I'll be done at 30. And that was always the plan. And I was on that trajectory, I was on that course, but then I got, stopped it all by the pandemic and whatever. And then that since that I've obviously carried on boxing. But then I look at myself physically, I look at myself mentally and think, well, I'm strong as I've ever have been. My mental brain in like terms of boxing is better than it's ever been. So is there a reason to stop just yet? But then again, your other argument is this sport, can just fucking come out of blue and, only takes 1 or 2 punches to do a lot of long-lasting damage. So you've got to consider all them factors. And, like I say, my life's been centred around boxing. My whole career I've been a dental technician and, my missus giving up her career to pursue in order to pursue mine. It's all been centred and selfishly around myself. So there's a moments where you think like, we need to have an end game in sight and a goal to stick to. But I think at this moment in time, I'm like giving them a year or so and go from there.
I was going to say, because you all have these grand ideas, but you only know how you sort of going to feel as the time comes and as you've got into your 30s. I mean, I don't profess to be in here all the time, but I've seen you in and around this place. I mean, even today, like you put in a solid workout, you look in great condition. Is it just a matter of how you feel as and when? Do you think there'll be a point when you go, I know, like kind of thing? Do you think there'll be that point, or do you think it's going to be hard to give up? Because if you say, well, like, all right, I'm done, and then someone goes, right, we've got you a fight in America, it's going to be unbelievably hard for you to say no.
Yeah, I think. Listen, if in next year, 2024, if we get the rematch with Leeds, bash his head in, fucking go out and pissing myself laughing, and then go to America, then I might say, you know what, fucking take me back to Leeds Arena, get me some noddy, and I'll put my gloves down and ring, and like a Christmas show next year, and then I'll be happy then, Do
you want to sign out in Leeds? Because you've done that arena all the time, but would you like to sort of, I know there's not an ideal way to ever end a career and you can never normally write it yourself. I feel like you've had quite a bit of a storybook and you have had a movie out on you anyway. Yeah. But do you have that where you go, you know what, if I did it my way, I'd stand in front of Leeds Direct Arena with that big sort of uproaring set of stairs and say, you know what, it's been an absolute pleasure. There in my gloves. It's been some fucking ride.
That's it. I have that, you have the moments, throughout my life, I've kind of visualised and tried to pan my career out and what would be a perfect scenario from when I boxed for my first title to my British title, all the way through. I've planned it out in my head, and I always see myself. I actually thought about the leisure centre. going back to the leisure centre, which near me.
You might feel that.
Near me high school, and but no, being at Leeds Arena it's like being a second home to me, and. Go in there, take my kids, because my kids have never been to a boxing show, and get them in the ring, get Missy in the ring, lay my gloves down and just thank everybody, probably start crying, talk about, give a big emotional speech and then bow out like that. That would be nice, but obviously boxing doesn't always have the Cinderella endings. But I think going back to what you just asked me, Matt, I think retirement's always scared me. Like I said, my life's been centred around boxing, and it, you know, that routine, that regimen, the training, everything else that goes with it, the buzz on fight night, the walk into the ring and all that, it does something, and like that will stop, and I know it will stop eventually. I think, like, looking at it, and I've always had this thought of like, I don't want to retire. I want to keep on going, but at the same time you have to, because it's, you know, it's a fucking hard game. I think I'd rather retire with a little bit still left rather than the sport retire me, where you've nothing left to give, everything's gone downhill, your punch resistance is gone, you can't do 12 rounds no more, you're starting slurring and punching, whatever. People might say in comments, you're fucking like, anyway, I'm just mumble, that's all it is. I'd rather do it with a little bit left in tank, where people saying, oh, you know what, Josh, you could still go, but like, I think that's where you'd want it. You could still want to go, but you know, you've just.
It's a nice happy medium.
Yeah, it's a happy medium. Yeah.
Well, I think you did, to be fair, quite well. It's a lot to sort of contemplate, especially when you've had a career span like yours has. Well, look, I think bouncing into this new year, we all hope we see the rematch, and whatever comes from it, comes from it. Final two from me. Christmas is coming up. This will be released after Christmas, before anyone says, oh, this isn't relevant. It is. So between Christmas and the New Year. So what do you want for Christmas? You can have one thing. What do you want? What does the Leeds warrior, Josh Warrington, want? Your dad give a good answer, actually.
What did my old man say?
Well, I think he said a lambretta or something at first, and then no, but then after, and we started talking about resolution, she said, you know what, we're in that's going off in the world. I'm a Catholic man. I'm not. Just want a bit of peace and quiet, and it'd be nice to see a bit of peace and quiet around the world in terms of, you know, people dying and stuff like that. And I thought, you know what, I'm not expecting that from Johnny Kebab. But what do you want? One thing for Christmas, if you could have, what do you want? I'm
you know, material possession. I've got everything that I've wanted, so I don't need that. Just like health and happiness to my family and friends, and some positive year for the Leeds Warriors gym. That's a positive year, man, and some results. Yeah, some decent results, some straight officials, some judges who'll get the fucking eyes tested, and just say.
Any New Year's resolutions?
Don't get beat.
I think that's the best. I think that's the best way to sign this off. Look, Josh, always appreciate your time. Thanks for having us down here. Have a great Christmas and a good New Year, mate.
Can I just finish off by saying, I know to all my supporters and followers out there that I know I've only boxed once this year, but you know, walking out to Sheffield, you was all there in your numbers and you made the noise, and after, you know, frustrating couple of years, that meant a lot to me. You know, just I don't really spoke about it, but it did. It makes me very proud, and I'm very honoured that those who pay, you know, to watch me, support me, follow me, send me messages. It means a lot, and you know, if I've met you, well, I'm sure I've said thank you to you many times before. But if I've not, then I'm very, very grateful, and I hope you have a great Christmas. And if you don't like me, get fucked.
Josh Warrington, appreciate your time.